Okay, welcome back everyone to Your Confidence Unleashed. In this summit, we are having conversations all about how to break through your limiting beliefs to own your unique magic, unleash it into the world with unwavering confidence, and create the life you've always wanted. So we are so thrilled to have Rue from Pure Gala Social with us today. Welcome, Rue.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. So, in order to keep these conversations just really juicy, I'm not going to read your bio. I would love for you to just introduce yourself to us in a minute or so. Just who are you and what is the difference that you're making in the world every day?
Sure. So my name's Rue. I'm the founder of Pure Gallus Social. We are a Instagram education and content marketing education company, I suppose. It's always
Yeah.
weird to know what to call it. And basically, I spend a whole lot of time online trying to help predominantly women in business, small to medium-sized enterprises, to ace their Instagram strategy and show up as their authentic selves online and have that make them money, which is super, super fun. I've got that's painful, 12 years experience working in social media since I was about 19. And I have always been really passionate about marketing in the most authentic possible way and showing up in the most authentic possible way, regardless of whether that is as an individual or as a business.
Oh my gosh. Well, I have to tell you, I don't know of anybody who shows up as authentically as you and as just in your most authentic self. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. And it comes from the place of not being able to do that for years. Because I was, I come from a pretty corporate background. So I was constantly having to put on a veneer of being somebody else so that I felt I could be taken seriously in the workplace.
Oh.
And I think that that's why now when I show up online, I'm like, this is who I am. I'm big colors and I'm big glasses and I'm dungarees, because I felt I was pushing that away for so long.
Wow. I mean, what an incredible opportunity that we have nowadays to be able to do that and to be able to make money just being completely authentically ourselves.
Absolutely. And I think for a lot of people, they've had a similar experience to me where they've went off into the world of work. I think especially as women, feminine things are seen as being less respectable in the corporate world, right? So you are taught to masculinize everything about yourself because things that are feminine are also seen as being infantile or childish or like little girly, like wanting to wear big flowery shirts is like a little girl. And if you portray that, you can go one way or the other. You can either help men feel less intimidated by you and therefore get accepted, but never respected.
Of course not.
Or you can go the other way and be respected, but feared in a matriarchal way.
Right. Oh my God.
And that's all you can have. You can be little sister or mom. You cannot be anything in between.
Wow. I've never heard it described in that way. And it's so absolutely true.
Because you have to fill these gender stereotype. And if you don't fit one, you're confusing. Right.
And they want to just put you in the box that you go in.
Yeah. So I had to choose if I want to get further. I was like, I'll have to be matriarch because otherwise I can't get anywhere. But that's not my.
Oh my gosh, I'm literally running through, because I'm from a corporate background too. I'm running through in my head all of the women that I worked with and me, myself. And yeah, it's you can categorize them into one of those two buckets. For me, it was always really, really difficult to step into that almost masculine, feminine version, the mother character that you're talking about that is just there to take on the world and the boss bitch and
and the word bitch comes up a lot when you're that person.
Wow.
Yeah, because you have to be, because that's what all the men, all the men are being a bitch, but that's not what we call them.
They're just big men.
They're just assertive. And you're like, I'm assertive. I'm really assertive. But
And I
also,
can
would
be
like to be
assertive
taken
in
seriously
flowers.
without having to be assertive.
Totally. Oh my gosh. Wow. I love it.
So
So,
I feel like that's where a lot of that has come from, that kind of like, this is who I am. And I have lots of things in my head that you would like to have. And in order to have those, you will have to accept everything else that goes with it.
yeah, girl, I love it. Well, so what gave you the confidence to really step into this and to just do it and to just be fully you? Have you always been a confident person, or what would you attribute that
So
to?
I would say that I would say that I am a naturally confident person.
Mhm.
I was on stage from like being about 2. So I come from an arts background. So confidence has never really been an issue until I started to move into more senior management in sort of like more corporate marketing.
Mhm.
And then I would say that my confidence took an absolute nosedive because of these pressures to look a certain way and to sound a certain way, in order to be respected. So I started having to put on and play a part. And I think that playing a part really undermined my confidence in who I was. Like, I actually found for a while that I really felt I'd completely lost myself. I feel like this is a very typical late 20s thing, potentially.
Totally.
I was like, who is this person? Because I still want to be the person I was last year, but like, no one respects this person. So I created this persona who was successful and was like head of department. And then at the weekends would be a completely different person that you wouldn't recognize. And that really chipped away at my confidence, because I was like, I don't really know who I am. Like, am I Monday to Friday Rue, or am I like Saturday, Sunday Rue, or am I neither? Are both a facade? Right? The
Totally.
absolute terror.
Wow.
And that really dug my confidence down. And then during lockdown, like lots of people, I got furloughed, because the company I was working for worked predominantly in events. So I was at home a lot, and I didn't wear any of my corporate clothes at home, surprisingly. Don't just kick about my living room in a wiggle dress. So I was like, this is kind of cool. And I feel like I slowly managed to regain some kind of semblance of self. And it was during that time I was bored, and I thought, I'm going to start doing a few freelance clients. I'm going to start an Instagram, because it'll be like fun, and I can like share my knowledge, and loads of people are starting little businesses in lockdown. So I thought, that's cool. I can share stuff and help people get along that way. And when I first started sharing stuff, I did it as Corporate Rue. If you go back far enough, you can find her. It's hilarious. I was like, oh, beige. That she was beige. And like,
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to go back.
I like making sure that people could see that I had a Gucci belt, because that was a success signifier.
That
And all this kind of stuff.
that you were
that
to
I don't
be
actually
taken
get.
serious.
People must know that I make money, because that is how you are taken seriously. And nobody cared. Like, no, everyone was like, yeah, there's like lots of successful people on Instagram. Like, you're like, you're minor successul for Instagram. Like, I'm not Lizzo.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm just like someone who did okay at work and afforded a quite expensive belt. Like, it's just not that impressive. But I was like, I'm trying to portray this person that is successful.
Please buy it.
Yeah, everyone was like, very good. And then one day my husband bought me new dungarees. I collect dungarees. If you don't follow me, I've got a lot of pairs of dungarees. And they had sunflowers on. I thought, these are really cute. And he said, you should wear them. Bless him. He said, you should wear them in your next Instagram reels, so that you can shout out the girl who made them. And I was like, oh, I probably should do that, because that's quite nice. That is the only reason the first time I wore my normal clothes on camera. And the first time I did it, I felt so much better. Like I could tell my facial expressions were natural again. And I was like, I started like kind of dancing about and moving in a more normal way for me. And immediately that was it. Within 4 or 5 weeks of that moment, I'd went from like 1K to 10K. And then 4 or 5 weeks after that, it was 20K.
Oh,
It was literally overnight.
oh my gosh.
And that's the
wow.
power of confidence, and confidence in who you actually are.
Hmm.
Not confidence made out of becoming somebody who you're meant to be.
Yeah, not Gucci belt confidence.
Not God, no, gosh. I can't even remember the last time I reached for that, you know? That's such a waste of money. It's just sitting somewhere and I look at it and it makes me sort of half smile and I think, oh gosh, bless you. You felt you needed to get that.
Goodness, what a powerful story.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I mean, the fact that you did it not out of self-expression, but out of selflessness, really, to help someone else and their business. And it
I
wasn't
just did it to
even-
be polite.
Yeah. Wow. And
That's the most British thing I'll say today. I just did it to be polite.
and look at where you are now. It's amazing.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Politeness wins.
Totally, for sure. That's a good lesson. So, in your journey, then, since it did kind of happen overnight, and since you know, had to kind of become an Instagram star overnight, have there been moments of, you know, throughout that journey where you have felt down in your confidence, or does it make you feel really confident every time you go out and post something and express yourself and get your creativity out there in the world?
So I definitely am not somebody who gets down about like a piece of content not doing that well. But that's more because I understand strategy
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and understand how it all works. So I'm like, that's not meant to do that. So that's okay. I would say that there was a moment not long ago where I was starting to be concerned that I was becoming a parody of myself, which is so meta. Like I was looking at myself being like, am I playing the part of me or is that me?
Wow.
Like, which is a very surreal thing. And it was just like little things, like I was like, I don't need to do my hair exactly the same every time. Like maybe if I feel like wearing lipstick that day, that's actually okay. Like, calm down on that a little bit. Like it was just like a little bit of a parody. And then I think I had a very slight confidence moment around thinking that that people wouldn't like my accent.
I love your accent.
Which turned out to be incorrect. So I was really, really worried about, I was just doing trends all the time, pretty much, because I was really scared people wouldn't understand my accent, or they wouldn't like it, or it would be seen as being like a working class accent, or just, you know, not like it's not like a cool American accent.
It's way cooler than an American accent.
Or it's not like an English accent. It's like a South of England. It's very like a respectable academic sounding accent. It's a Northern accent. So I was really worried about that. But then when I actually posted, like especially my American followers were very enthusiastic about my accent.
It's awesome.
Like, you sound like you're an Outlander. And I was like, that's the wrong bit of Scotland, but I see where you're going. Good try. Good shout.
It's hard for us to identify things that are outside of the United States is difficult for us. We sort of just live.
To be fair, Scottish accents are kind of weird, and they can often sound a bit like Irish accents, and to people who are not Scottish, apparently. I quite often get asked if I'm Irish or Scottish. I'm like, Scottish.
Obviously.
Irish is completely different. And they're like, no, it's not. I'm like, oh, okay. It's hard for me to say because I have this accent.
Yeah, you don't recognize it. Totally. People don't recognize the difference. Sometimes I live in Spain, so there are people here who are like, they can't identify the difference between an American or a British person or an Australian. I'm like, how do you not identify a difference here.
Yeah. Oh,
All sounds the
British and
same.
Australian get mixed up a lot. People
Yeah.
quite often are like, oh, you're not Australian. I'm like, I feel like that's a really far away accent to Scottish, but fair enough. It's really hard to say if you're not, like when you have a certain accent, like I'm sure as an American, when you listen to other American people, you can identify where in America they're from.
Yeah. Usually.
Unless somebody's got like a sweet apple pie Southern accent, I have no idea.
Right.
It
Why
has
would
to be
you?
pretty extreme.
Yeah. Why would you? I mean, it's
American, you can tell. It's just the same.
Yeah,
I was
true.
really underconfident about my own voice. And I
That's
feel
so
like that has been
interesting.
a new level of confidence because now I can do that. Then I feel like I can make more original content.
Mm-hmm.
It's like exactly what I want to say, as opposed to most of the way that, but using someone else's voice.
Yeah. It feels like what I'm hearing from all of this is it's sort of like your own personal development journey just by doing what you do every day. Like a lot of
Sure,
self-discovery, right?
absolutely. For sure. And then the added learning curve of telling people what you do for a living. When what you do is the internet, people get really like, they're like, oh, you're like an influencer. And you're like, well, am I? That's like a weird identity crisis. And you're like, well, I guess in my very closed area, I guess I am. But I think of myself as more of an educator. So then that's kind of a weird, like my sister-in-law introduced me to somebody as an influencer one day. And I was just like, wow, that is not how I identify whatsoever.
So do you see yourself, I mean, it sounds like you really love what you do. Do you see yourself doing this forever? Do you see yourself, I mean, forever is a long time, but you see yourself definitely sticking with?
Yes. I mean, I will never, ever probably work in an office again.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's an office of my own design. Because I wouldn't want to risk what I've built confidence wise, or risk it getting like my sense of self getting corrupted again, behind having to work. Because it's not just that it's working with men, some of the women are as bad for it as well. It's just that corporate environment and trying to maintain the status quo of that system.
Yep.
It's just kind of gross.
It's good it's good motivation, isn't it? To know that you never want to go back. Oftentimes that's one of my biggest drivers when I think about
I can't go back.
Yeah, just can't go back.
I can't go back. If I did, I would walk in there now exactly like this and be like,
take it or leave it.
Listen or don't, go away.
And it would probably be a lot more accepted these days, do you think?
I think the pandemic did a lot for relaxing dress codes in certain environments, which I'm all about because I don't really like a dress code in general. So yeah, I think it is a little different now, but I still think it'll creep. It'll creep back in.
Yeah. So
I just don't think 2 years is long enough to completely change every
Totally.
industry in the world.
Totally. Do you see a lot of women coming your way who would love to be doing what you're doing or showing up on the internet every day, but they do struggle with confidence?
Yes. I would say that, so I do a lot of consultation calls with clients. I would say probably upwards of half of the people who end up in those calls, confidence is an issue. So when you give them advice, there's like I can't do that, or like maybe it's how I look, or I try and explain to people some of the most attractive people I know are not good looking, but like their spirit shines out their face and it makes them good looking.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Totally.
Like they're not like traditional. If you took a photo of them, they might not be, but in a video, you can portray a lot more attractiveness that way as well. I would honestly say some of my calls are like 50% therapy sessions for confidence sometimes.
That's fascinating.
People, and quite often I have to say people like, you have to process the issues with confidence before you try and address your strategy issues.
Right, because you're a strategist. Like you're not a coach. You're not a life coach.
No,
You're an
I'm not a
Instagram
life
strategist.
coach. Yeah, I end up falling into the accidental life coach in most calls. But sometimes it's just like you need to go to therapy and like work that out. And that's okay because that stuff gets chipped away at.
Yeah.
Right. Especially confidence. And if you're somebody who's been terrified of being seen your whole life and terrified of you hate people looking at you and you hate all this kind of stuff, suddenly showing up online and realizing that 500,000 people are seeing your face in a video is not going to be a nice feeling.
Yeah.
Right. That's going to be a horrible feeling because you're going to be terrified of that. That's not, it's not a nice thing. So quite often you have this dichotomy where somebody's like, I want to be really, really successful and I want my content to get seen by more people, but I don't want more people to see me. And you're like,
okay. How do we handle this?
I feel like you're putting me in quite a tricky situation here.
This is so interesting because I think of it from a life coach standpoint, right? And I think of how I could help them see that the confidence is within them and all of those things. But yeah, from your standpoint, like that's not what you're there to coach them on. You're there for when they're fully ready to be seen, then you can help them be seen.
Yeah, because I'm not a licensed therapist.
Right.
Definitely not a life coach. Done absolutely no qualifications in any of those things. I don't have 12 years experience of that. And it can be quite daunting when you have someone sitting in front of you and you think you need to do the personal work. And that I've got tricks and stuff to make you look more confident on camera. Like if you're happy to fake it till you make it. But if the actual idea of it actually happening fills you with terror, that's a problem.
For sure.
You know?
For sure. Like, and a problem that you probably don't empathize with as much because you've been on stage since you were 2, like you said. Like it's just so natural to you that for you it's just like, just get out there. What's the problem?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I've never even been somebody who got stage fright. So I'm a naturally anxious person. So I empathize strongly with anxiety because I will go off on stage, come off, and then worry about it.
Okay.
But the bit before I go on and the showing up, fine. Totally fine. And I'm actually probably more comfortable with a large audience than a small audience, which is actually more common than I thought it was.
Yeah, I have heard that before.
Yeah. So because like on Instagram, you look and it's like, oh, like 100,000 people watched that reel. And you're like, it's not a real number.
It's just a number. Right. Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything. But if someone was like, do one of your reels, like show me how you do it, like in person, I'd be like, well, just you, just me and you. And I'll show you how I did it. That I get uncomfortable with.
That's fascinating.
That's just performers.
Yeah.
I think.
It's a lot more intimate, a small group.
Yeah. And you can see their faces and you can really see what they're thinking.
Do people make themselves seen to you in the comments? I mean, do they reach out to you a lot and let you know what they think about what you're doing, whether it's good thoughts or bad thoughts or?
Absolutely. And I would say that most people are lovely. So if you're somebody who's like out there and you're worried about mean comments, they are much rarer than you'd think.
Oh, that's good.
Like they don't happen that much, especially if you're putting out like positive energy. And then if you know you're putting out positive energy and what you're doing is good, when you do get mean comments, they are hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Just people like, you are unbearable. I'm like, okay.
Why are you watching?
I don't know what you want to do with that.
Go away.
Like that's not useful feedback. I can't do anything with that apart from make content out of it, which I do a lot. I screenshot mean comments and make reels out of them because I think they're quite funny.
They are funny. How do those perform?
Really, really well. People really like to see mean comments, which is really funny, and to see your reaction to them.
Yeah.
Oh, that just gave me an idea for a reel. Sorry.
If you need to write it
So
down, go ahead.
I'm literally doing that now. I think that people think when they leave you a comment that you're going to sit there and think about it.
But you're going to really take it in.
Whereas like the reaction to most mean comments is I'll be like sitting with my husband and be like, that's probably about it. That's usually about it. Because they always take it too far. And you know, when someone takes like an insult too far, it just starts being funny.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous. I don't know if that's a Scottish thing. It could be.
No.
I had somebody who said, what was my favorite? It's my favorite one ever. You stupid attention-seeking slut.
Wow.
I've never laughed so hard in my life. Partly because I dress like a giant toddler.
Right.
So
slut. Come on.
I bet you've never seen my skin, so that's quite funny. Attention-seeking, literally my job. Yeah. That is marketing. That is literally it. And I'm clearly not that stupid because I've managed to reach you. So
whoever you are.
But yeah, if you reach enough people, you're gonna get someone.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you know people who are much more affected? Because you probably have a circle of people who are in your same follower number range. Are many people much more affected than you are by those?
Yeah. I think that certainly within my sort of circle, there are some people who like, I had a friend who somebody had said, it wasn't actually a mean comment. They'd said in a consultation call, you are so much more approachable in person than you are in your reels. And she just could not let that go. She was like, I don't look approachable in my reels. That's all she could hear was that like, she looks mean in her reels. And she looks like unkind and people think that she looks like a bitch. And I was like, I don't think that's what they meant. But you know, when something gets in your head,
yeah.
And she would send me every reel to be like, do I look mean in this? Like, do I look like really unapproachable? And I'd be like, no, you're good. Like they weren't meaning that in that way. So I think actually the things that people say that they don't mean to be mean are actually worse usually.
It all
because
just
when they're
depends
really
on how
mean,
they
they're
land
silly.
someone. Yeah. Right. So the less mean, the less mean comments that are maybe interpreted in a powerful way can be worse. Oh my gosh. This has been a super enlightening conversation, Rue, because honestly, like I love this perspective. Most of the women in this summit, and there have been some who have said that they're just naturally confident, but many of them have these stories around, you know, how they found their confidence. And I love that you come from a place where it's just natural for you. And
I mean, I guess
and that you still have your moments.
Like I think I was kind of told from being little, like you can be anything, you can do anything. Like I have lots of positive reinforcement as a little kid, which probably led to me being insufferable as a child. But as an adult, like you kind of need that armor, right? Because you're gonna get picked at for like your whole teenhood and your early 20s. So at least. So like maybe it's okay for a parent to make a kid really overconfident when they're little.
I feel like that's really interesting for a lot of parents listening.
Yeah. By then they get to being an adult, they'll just be like a good level of confidence.
Wow.
Instead of destroyed, which is what happens to a lot of people. Right?
Yeah, totally.
Also, I had 2 big brothers, so you can't be sensitive if you've got brothers. Because just like you can't.
That helps.
You just can't.
Oh, that helps. So
I would not have survived.
No, you would not have. So if you could offer advice to the woman on the other side of the screen who doesn't feel that same confidence, and you're not putting on your life coaching hat, right? Because that's not what you do. What would you tell her? Would you tell her to just go? Like
like it's like the meanest advice ever, but like probably just like suck it up.
Yeah.
Like I think that people who are confident are people who are comfortable being uncomfortable. And I think that is something you can practice.
100%.
So like, I'm genuinely uncomfortable most of the time. That's become uncomfortable has become comfortable because I'm used to it and I know nothing bad happens. So if someone's like, do you want to try this new thing? People think, oh, you're really confident because you just always say yes. But it's not really that. It's just that I've learned that nothing bad happens when you try.
I'm not gonna die.
And someone said to me once, and it kind of really stuck with me, is that adults don't practice sucking at stuff. Right? Adults can't suck at stuff. That's not what they do. Children suck at stuff, and they're totally used to it.
Yeah.
Because they're just a kid.
Yeah. I have a 1.5-year-old. He just like falls down all day long, every day.
Sure.
Doesn't bother him.
And when he goes to his first judo lesson, then he'll suck at judo.
Yeah.
But he'll be like, that's cool because like I'm 5 and you know, 5-year-olds suck at judo. And then when I'm 20, I'll be good at judo. Right? That's how kids think. Adults don't. Adults think if I'm not good at this straight away, I'm terrible at it. Instead of thinking, I'm a beginner and beginners suck.
Yeah.
And that it's totally fine to suck. Like it's normal.
Yeah.
And I think when I got told that, I was like, that is like, you're right. Just go into it with a childlike frame of mind where you're comfortable and happy to suck. Because you can only get better if you suck. And if you don't try, you can't get better. So if you really want to do it, you got to get into that childish mindset. People grow up too much.
I totally agree.
Like if we could just all ungrow up a little bit, we would be way better. And
without all the trauma that made us unconfident.
Yeah, I just think people should stop growing up earlier.
I love that. Just make that a tagline. Stop growing up earlier.
Yeah, just stop. Just stop and like be happy being like an overgrown kid that kind of knows how mortgages work or doesn't. I don't really know. I've got one, but I'm not really sure how it works.
Find a partner.
I've got a mortgage advisor for that. Outsource your adulting. That's my got an accountant.
I hope you're writing all of these down as real ideas. Okay, thank you. This conversation has been so lovely. So lovely.
You are so welcome. It's been so lovely to be here.
Yeah, you have a gift for everyone who wants to get into your world and know more about Rue and what you do. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. If you are new to Instagram or you have been Instagramming for some time and you're not really seeing results, especially if you're somebody who doesn't have a lot of time, my gift is for you. I am gifting 1 month of our subscription Content Club. So Content Club is a whole month of content. You get instructions on how to write your captions, you get instructions on how to make the reels, you get links to the audios for the reels and examples. So it's really like a done for you content strategy and content plan. It comes in 3 different types. You've got service businesses, you've got creator. So if you're like a blogger, or you're just like want to be famous on the internet, which is completely viable wish. Don't let people tell you it's not. Or if you're a product-based business, then you can join Content Club for 1 month, try it out, see how you feel. It's not, I will not be doing it as like, you have to subscribe to Content Club. And then if you forget to unsubscribe, I'll charge you. It's not gonna be like that. I'm just gonna send it to you. So just gonna give you access. I'll just need an email address. That's it.
That's amazing, Rue. Really, really generous. Like that's huge. Thank you very much.
Oh, no problem at all. I hope you guys enjoy using it.
Yeah.
I enjoy making it because I have more ideas than I can create. So now I have 3 extra plans to write every month that I can just send to other people.
What a beautiful problem to have.
Too many ideas. It's my burden.
Big issue. Thank you, seriously, for this beautiful conversation. I know so many people benefited from it.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.